Good morning, everybody. My name is Mark Boccia. I'm with Marriott, and today I'm here to talk about evolving our practice as learning professionals to the next level. More specifically, I'm here to take you on a journey over the next 10 minutes about evolving our practice to do more of our social learning and allowing our training programs that we design and deliver evolve to the next step. So I'm going to share some stats and figures and take you on this journey to paint a picture and really critique our practice as learning professionals, because we're becoming obsolete if we don't change our thinking. Our good friends at ASTD do annual surveys, and in the United States, organizations spend about $56 billion a year on training. Now that's good news for us because it keeps us employed, and there's no shortage of employees and associates who need training. But $56 billion is always critiqued. Is the money being spent wisely? So there's lots of questions about, are we using that money effectively? And some other research that I stay up to date with in journals and white papers and so forth don't necessarily paint the most rosy picture of our practice. So here's three findings, overarching findings. The first, if we were to really step back, they say that too often the programs that we deliver are targeted toward the average learner. This person doesn't exist. We forget about the high performers. We hope and pray that the bottom performers, we drag them along, and we come up with a homogenized, very vanilla solution right down the middle. Unfortunately, that is our reality because we have so much on our plate. We need to kind of target that middle and move on because we can't appease everybody. Even though we do our best at doing stakeholder analysis and we try to satisfy everyone's needs, often we go for that average middle of the road. Now, how about our practice, our departments? Some would say that too often what we do is done by the seat of our pants. We are in reaction mode. We're building to somebody else's order. Now, that is the reality. Even though sometimes we can guide that, too often we're reaction mode. And then finally, those of us who do e-learning can be summarized as this: knowledge dumps tarted up with trivial interactions. It's those interactions of click and drag and drop, click to continue. Now, back when this computer was relevant, that was cool. Put a PowerPoint together, read, click next to continue. And sure, off-the-shelf programs have made it easier, and there's a lot more people building e-learning in this space, but have we really evolved to the next level, or are we continuing this cycle? Well, when we take those three trends, more and more people are not looking to us, the training department, as the place to learn. And we're certainly not going out to look for e-learning for every answer that we need. Where are we going? All of us in the room are doing it now. We're going here. The world is being taken over, right, by Google, but take the platform away. The reality is just-in-time learning. More people are trusting networks through any social media channel, networks of people who they don't know for the answers. They get immediate solutions and they move on. We follow certain channels because we want to stay in the know. And we also have an opportunity to contribute to the conversation when we want, and we can rate others. This challenges us as learning professionals because we are really good here, developing the package, the structure, and having control over those learning objectives, the way the activities run, the assessments, and so forth. This new world we're living in is challenging the control. Because we hear about social learning, and all of us say, yeah, but we can't let the folks in our organization just have free rein to share all this knowledge. We need to control it. Because we've taught ourselves that we are really good at this. We're really good as learning professionals to take the most complex task our organization gives us, and we build the best training, and we are great at it. But while we're doing that, it's taking a lot of time, money, and effort to translate that into something that our learners can use. A lot of time is spent and the world is getting very impatient. Take, for example, some of these stats. Back in 2000, the attention span was 12 minutes on a task. 12 minutes on a sustained task without interruption. Fast forward, the same study looked at it last year. Attention span has dropped to 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Guaranteed this number will continue to reduce. And what's frustrating about this is, as I've talked with folks that I work with, it's frustrating because we have an hour's worth of content and attention span is being reduced. So back in the day when a 10 or 12-minute e-learning module was about the right target, now we're dividing our attention. We have to split up our e-learning into shorter segments. Is that the right path? Is that the right hamster wheel? We continue to just chunk it down smaller and smaller. Well, that's not necessarily the right answer. We're becoming neurotic because we're checking email every other minute. And if you're looking on YouTube, they say, hey, videos should never be longer than 2.5 minutes because people will get bored. Bored after 2.5 minutes. Challenge yourself. I challenge yourself. Next time you go and watch any video, catch yourself when you move your mouse over the playhead to see, how much longer the video has. 45, 50 seconds is about where I'm looking. When is this going to end? And then lastly, no matter what social media channel you are accessing, the average adult, when they're awake, 10 minutes out of every hour, they're either consuming or contributing to social media. And this guaranteed will increase. So what does this mean? We need to shift some of our thinking away from that package-controlled environment that we're so accustomed to building, and we do a great job. But perhaps we need to break away from tradition. And it only takes 1 or 2 programs to test the waters. Because K through 12 is doing it. And while I'm not here to talk about what's happening in K through 12, the students who are using the iPads, they're in a flipped classroom where they're going home and learning the material and coming to school to apply it. This is the workforce of the future that's going to be working in our restaurants and our hotels, and they will only know that world. And the days of a crescent round, flip chart, and a PowerPoint, they won't be able to relate to it. They're relating to the social learning. But the good news is organizations that have been polled say, about 80% of them say by 2020, we will increase our spend on peer-to-peer social learning. Break away from the formal channels. And so many of you may say, that sounds like a tall task, and I'm asking you to boil the ocean. But not quite. Because we too, at Marriott, we have lots of programs, but we can only focus on one program to start making a difference. And that's my challenge to you. Find one program where you could start moving the needle into the social space. It requires you to say no. Say no to that request for an e-learning or that classroom training. And find a way, find a different route. And it's not about throwing everything out. Because I do believe that there's a time and a place for formal learning, classroom learning, activities. There is a time and place, and there's value. But with each program that you're asked to design and deploy, find a different route and add a little twist. And I'll share with you a quick story. We run an engineering leadership program called AEP, Advanced Engineering. And this is a bunch of very seasoned engineering team members that are handpicked for a leadership course that runs 8 months. And we wouldn't say these folks are the most tech-savvy and social media savvy, but we put them in an environment where this was their only way of accessing information, collaborating with their peers and instructors, and sharing pictures and videos of all of their assignments. Now, we're in the 3rd year of this, and I'd say we've had some really great success stories come from just testing this out. Now, they still meet face-to-face, but now the conversation continues when the course is over. They collaborate with others, they work on team projects, and so forth. It's not groundbreaking, but we're moving the needle because this audience would never go there on their own. And that's one of the key learnings that we've had, is that we can't just say, hey, go be social. We have to show them the way. And so as learning professionals, we need to be the first person to take them by the hand and say, for this course, I'm also adding in a social component and putting them in that environment and modeling and showing them the way. And that's what I'm asking for each one of you, is to now think about evolving our discipline away from designers of that discrete activity and that one-time event. Think about creating more of an open network that allows that self-directed, that informal and social learning to take place, because ultimately learning is integrated into everyday life. So here's my two things. Think social first and content second. Every single program you're tasked with over the next year, stop before going into content and think, how can I make it social? How can I make it collaborative? Then figure out how to integrate content. And build that framework for learning as opposed to coming with a complete A to Z solution. So my challenge to you is between now and next July, when we're in New Orleans, is to come up with one of those training high fives. I took a program and I moved the needle and I added one little twist to social learning, because it's about testing and learning, and if we fail, okay, but we learn along the way and we can evolve our practice so we don't become obsolete. Thank you.